The Canadian government is moving ahead with the recognition of the state of Palestine, a move the government says that is intended to preserve the possibility of a two-state solution. A state released by the Prime Minister says the following: recognizing the state of Palestine, led by the Palestinian Authority, empowers those who seek peaceful coexistence and the end of Hamas. This in no way legitimizes terrorism, nor is it any reward for it. The Prime Minister goes on to say, furthermore, it in no way compromises Canada's steadfast support for the State of Israel, its people and their security that can only ultimately be guaranteed through the achievement of a comprehensive two-state solution. Canada's recognition is predicated on the Palestinian Authority's commitment, to hold general elections in 2026. Carney has stressed that Hamas can play no role in the future of Palestine. The move today is part of a coordinated international effort. The recognitions by countries are being criticized by the Israeli government and some leading U.S. politicians. The Israeli Foreign Ministry today once again framed this decision as a reward for Hamas, while some families of some of the Israeli hostages held by Hamas have warned that this move will complicate efforts to free them. The United Kingdom also recognized Palestinian statehood this morning.
In the face of the growing horror in the Middle East, we are acting to keep alive the possibility of peace and a two-state solution. That means a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable Palestinian state.
France is expected to follow suit tomorrow morning. It was the first G7 country to say it would recognize a Palestinian state. French President Emmanuel Macron spoke to CBS's Face the Nation and says he disagrees that the move gives Hamas less incentive to release the hostages.
The objective of Hamas is absolutely not to create a Palestinian state. The objective of Hamas is to destroy Israel, to convince the maximum number of people that they have no chance to have peace and stability and precisely a Palestinian state, and to kill the maximum number of Israeli people. And this is why, if we want to stop this war, if we want to isolate Hamas, the recognition process and the peace plan which goes with this recognition process is a precondition.
So why has Canada joined in this effort? What does recognizing a Palestinian state change? And is a two-state solution still a viable option? Bob Rae is Canada's ambassador to the United Nations, and he joins me this morning from New York. Nice to see you, Ambassador.
Thank you, Rosie. Good to be with you.
So Canada has now officially recognized a Palestinian state. What does this change, Ambassador Rae?
Well, I think it's an official recognition of a fact that's been there for a long time. Canada's always believed in two states. When I say always, back to 1947, which is even before I was born. And it's there for a long time. So it's really a matter of all of the obstacles and problems that we've had in getting there. And finally, I think the government has decided that it's a necessary moment. We've made this decision with a number of others. The state of Israel has a right to live in security next door to a democratic neighbor. We're still determined to try to create the conditions that will make that happen. But I think it's important for us to make it clear to everyone, including, frankly, the government of Israel, that we do not think that annexation or any other possible political path is a route that's sustainable or in the best interest of Israel or of anybody else. So I think that's the reasoning behind why we've taken this decision.
There are conditions attached to this recognition, one of them being that the Palestinian Authority commit to holding a general election next year. It's very hard to see how some of these commitments will actually happen. Obviously, the other part of that is that Hamas cannot be involved in that general election. So how do you foresee that playing out then, that these conditions will in fact be met? How will the Canadian government make sure that happens?
Well, I think as the minister has said, and the prime minister has said too, our engagement with the Palestinians we hope be able to increase as we talk to them more on a very regular basis. Don't forget, we have a mission in Ramallah. We have engagement with the Palestinian Authority on a daily basis, and there's a lot of work to do. It's also important to recognize that some of the conditions, some of the things that people say need to happen are outside the control of the Palestinian Authority. There are things they can do, but they're still not being properly financed. They're not getting the funds that are legally theirs from revenue flows from taxes that Israel is supposed to pass on to them. That's not happening to the extent that it should. Israel has said that the people living in East Jerusalem can't vote. So there's a lot of issues and problems. But the point is, for us, is to say in good faith, we are joining over 145 other countries in recognizing that there are two states. One is the state of Israel, the other is the state of Palestine. And creating a democratic state and a culture of peace between the two countries is critical. And it's critical for not only for Israel's security, but for the security of Palestinians. Hamas treated Palestinian people terribly. It was a deeply oppressive dictatorship. Mm-hmm. And that's not a sustainable model for the people of Palestine. It's not a sustainable model for the people of Israel or for the whole region.
One of the countries, of course, that is not on that list is the United States. I'm sure that will come as no surprise to anyone. And in fact, they're very concerned about Canada, France, the United Kingdom all taking this position. The U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has said that it will embolden Hamas, that it is, there's conversations around this is a reward to Hamas. What is your response to that, Ambassador?
Well, I disagree most emphatically with that view. Hamas wants one state that'll be controlled by Hamas. That's Hamas's objective. Hamas wants to obliterate Israel. And this is in no way, shape, or form recognizing that or emboldening Hamas in any way at all. We're making very clear the approach that we're taking. And I think everyone has to understand that there are extremists within the Palestinian community. We're also seeing a rise of extremism in Israel in terms of people being willing to accept the existence of the other. And it's only when the other is recognized that you can find a culture of peace and a path to peace. And I think that the inability to do that, I think, is a big mistake. Whether it's committed, the mistake is committed by a small state or a large state, it's a mistake. And we are going to continue to dialogue, of course, with our American friends and with the Israelis about the path forward. This is not intended in any way, shape, or form to change Canada's support for the existence and the security of the state of Israel.
Do you see, though, Ambassador, how some people might view it that way? How some people might be offended or upset with this decision by Canada today?
Of course, we understand people's feelings. I think it's also important for people to understand the need to think consequentially, because it's no point in thinking impulsively about this. This is not an impulsive decision by Canada or by the UK or by France or any of the other countries that have done this over time. It's a result of our sense of the consequences of not taking action. And frankly, what happens when you allow your impulses to take over? We all recognize the existence of feelings. But it's important for us also to recognize the reality that two states is the best step to security, both for Israel and for the people of Palestine.
Do you think that this could in any way change what's happening on the ground? You know, United Nations, as you know, part of the United Nations said there is a genocide happening in Gaza right now. Canada has not made that same statement, but there is obviously deep concern about Palestinians living in Gaza. Will this change anything for that in any way, do you think?
Well, we certainly want to work to make that happen. Legalities aside, what is happening in Gaza and in the West Bank is potentially catastrophic for the people of Palestine. People are dying at a great rate. People are not getting the food that they need. And above all, they're not getting a path to statehood and to political participation. Being able to have a sovereign country is a step to freedom. Mm-hmm. And we need to understand why that sovereignty has been so important to the Palestinian people, and why it's important for Canada to take the step we're taking today. It's not an easy step. We all understand it will create, as you put it, feelings, but it's up to us to do our best to overcome those feelings and replace it with a dialogue that's based on what I call the culture of peace. We have to establish a culture of peace, a culture of dignity, and a culture of recognition. And that's exactly what we're trying to do.
I'll just end on this. Given the United States' support for Israel and the fact, again, that they have not taken this position, is there any possibility that, peace can come, a two-state solution can come without the United Nations on board? Without the United States on board, excuse me, yes.
Well, the United States can play a positive role. We can't get there without the United States. We can't get there without Israel. But we're making clear what our position is and the way in which Canada wants to work with both Israelis and Palestinians and Americans. I'm looking forward to meeting with Ambassador Waltz when he's here and working with him in the months that I have left in this job. But I think above all, it's extremely important that we understand that further aggression, further attempts at annexation, and the extraordinary violence that we've seen perpetrated by Hamas, the kidnappings, the killings, the torture, this all has to come to an end. And I think that recognizing, as we're doing, the rights of the Palestinian people comes with an understanding that everyone wants to live in peace and needs to live in peace. And peace only comes when you recognize the existence of other people. That's the definition of peace. You can try peace and call it, make a desert, call it peace, but it's not. It's a desert. And that's not the answer to the situation.
Canada's ambassador to the UN, Bob Rae, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Rosie. Good to talk to you.